racing fan, Monday Morning Racer here. Between the Slicks is live. And look, we are glad to have you. Hey, if you would, get your phone out. See, playing right there. Get your phone out. That's just on Facebook. Hit like for me, like I'm about to do, and hit the share button. It is extremely important to you hit that share button, hit the like button, and get the news out and help us all continue on the conversation on drag racing. And let's do it right here between the Slicks live. What do you want to talk about? I've got several things I want to talk about before we get to having our guest on, Elijah Morton, the winner of the inaugural American Door Slammer Challenge there with the PDRA. Looking forward to talking with him, learning more about him. The man has a lot of business endeavors going on, and hey, he drives a Ford. Have you driven a Ford lately, as they used to say in the 80s? That's why I'm wearing the Ford Performance hat tonight as Real Pro Stock chimes in. Oh yeah, Elijah, definitely, guys. Check out Limo Guy, Real Pro Stock on YouTube. A lot of great material there following the Real Pro Stock gang, the Mountain Motor Pro Stock gang, the Extreme Pro Stock gang, wherever they go. Definitely check it out on YouTube. Real Pro Stock, the Limo Guy. Todd, hello. We're going to get to Todd Untz. We're going to get there. I remembered. We're going to get there. Sam, hello to you. Good to see you. And Real Pro Stock chimes in once again, number one in the Real Pro Stock power rankings. I think that's a good number one. He's referring to Elijah there, and we'll have him on later on this evening. Let me, matter of fact, bring up the card so you all can see it, who our guest is going to be. That man right there, Elijah Morton. We're going to have him on later this evening. Again, inaugural winner at the American Door Slammer Challenge, PDRA, at the famed Summit Motorsports Park, a.k.a. Norwalk. We're looking forward to having him on later on tonight. Before we get there, though, there is a lot to talk about in the world of drag racing. Again, I would love to see you commenting. What's something you would like to talk about? I would love to see you liking and sharing. Get the word out of Between the Slicks. If you're out there on Twitter and you're watching on Twitter, retweet, but chime in. I will definitely want to see someone out there from the Twitter world, because this is streaming to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. You can follow Monday Morning Racer on all those platforms, including Instagram, as my travels happen in the world of motorsports. A lot of drag racing happening this weekend. One drag race that was supposed to happen that has been announced that it is postponed. That is the Midwest Drag Racing Series. They're going to have their Texas Tango. Not going to happen this weekend. That has been postponed to the 18th and the 19th of this month. So June 18th and 19th, they will have the Texas Tango there at the Texas Motorplex for the Midwest Drag Racing Series. They looked at the threat of rain coming in, and they wanted to be proactive and push things back. Destroyer 1320. Lee, how are you doing? Man, I'm doing great. Looking forward to a great weekend of racing. Folks, if you caught my little Instagram live stream, I mentioned that I'm going to be doing something that I've never been able to do before. I'm going to a sports car race, GT World Challenge. They're running at Virginia International Raceway, VIR, and I'm going to be able to go there. So going to get some snaps, going to get some video, hopefully some interviews in the sports car world. I love my drag racing. It's the top for me. But if it goes, I love it. Definitely looking forward to being at Virginia International Raceway. Justin King, he chimes in. Hey, Lee. Hey, Justin. How you doing, man? Good to have you here along for the ride on Between the Slicks. Concerning the drag racing world, Destroyer 1320, there is something I think right up your alley. I bet you will be buying this for your kids. I think this is such a great move by Dodge, partnering with the Lego team. This will be coming out soon. I believe you can get it online even now, I think, if I read the article correctly. But that right there, that kit right there, you can get that from Lego now or coming soon. A 70 Dodge Challenger, purple, mind you, great color choice. And then the Dodge SRT with the Bumblebee on it there. Top fuel dragster. And yes, it does have a female driver to put in that cockpit underneath that glass, the canopy of the dragster there. It's not said that it's Leah, but it's pretty much implied that it's Leah. That is great. This is the stuff we need for drag racing, that NHRA drag racing needs, being the premier level of the sport. We need these things out here. We need these elements marketed. I mean, you have a little kid, maybe with dad or mom, building a Lego, and it's a top fuel dragster. They're going to be like, what is this? Let's go see it in person. And they get hooked on drag racing. Heck, I haven't built anything Lego in a long time. I might go out and get this very kit and put it together and support Dodge doing this very thing and having a toy like that out there that represents drag racing. So a lot of positivity drag racing happening right now. NHRA marketing, planning on with Game Mill coming out with a game. You've got the Legos there. You've got Alex Laughlin working out the Hot Wheels deals that he has worked out. Some good things. Destroy 1320. Thank you for the super chat. Yes, that's something you can do, fans. You actually can hit on YouTube the super chat feature. You can support Monday Morning Racer that way. You can definitely support Monday Morning Racer by just hitting the like button, sharing, subscribing, and realizing that all of this I'm not making money at. I'm doing it because I love it. Thank you, Destroyer 1320. Grab a snack on me. Yes, definitely will have to do that. Appreciate it. Rick Kopp is in. Hey, you can catch his podcast, Mark Green, the Cars Yeah podcast. Rick was on there recently. You can catch him. He was also on Between the Slicks not too long ago. A great episode. Rob, hello to you. Glad to have you on tonight. Let's continue the drag racing conversation. What else in the world of drag racing is happening? Well, this weekend, though the Midwest Drag Racing Series had to cancel, the Southeast Gassers, they are in action at London Dragway, London, Kentucky. Folks, we are talking about over 75 period accurate, gear jamming, classic modern reenactors going at it at London Dragway. Over 75 entries right now for the Southeast Gassers event there at London, Kentucky. If you have not been to a Southeast Gassers event, you need to get there, and you will be thanking me after you went. It is such a great time. It is jam-packed with action. It gets done, racing does, in one day. There's 1 day of qualifying. There's 1 day of racing, and it gets done. And it's jam-packed the whole time. Action from beginning to end. If you have not been to a Southeast Gassers race, you definitely need to get to it. And I do want to bring up the Unces. This man right here won ZMAC's best appearing car, Mr. Unce and his rail. Look at this beautiful thing. I can tell you, I've seen it in person, PDRA. What a great looking dragster it is. In the daytime, in the nighttime, it is a stellar looking ride. So congratulations on getting that win there in ZMAX, winning best appearing car. And look, folks, I think that is quite an accomplishment in drag racing, to win best appearing car at a drag racing meet. You know, you go to a circle track, you go to sprint cars, you know, whatever. Those cars can, from time to time, be a bit rough looking, and oftentimes they look the same. You go to a drag race, though, you get everything, and you have such a wide range of great-looking cars and great-looking pieces. To pick up best appearing car at a drag meet, That is something to hold up. That is something to be proud about, because there are so many beautiful machines out there in the drag racing world. Speaking of beautiful machines, the PDRA, their most recent event there in Norwalk, Ohio, Summit Motorsports Park, the inaugural DeSerbo Construction American Door Slammer Challenge presented by Callies. They had some good-looking cars show up for that event, definitely. Not only some good-looking cars show up, as they always do. Matter of fact, you'll see it later on when we have Elijah on, that you can see the back of my screen. What a beautiful Willis 632 car. But there were some heavy hitters that showed up to race. Right here, Ricky Smith showed up to race in the PDRA. And matter of fact, folks, was able to interview Ricky, and Ricky mentioned that he plans on going to Maryland to race PDRA. So look for him to be at Maryland for the PDRA instead of being at Norwalk for the NHRA. I was shocked to hear that, but he's like, hey, I like running over here. I like that they're running nitrous against nitrous. Even though he was still an NHRA trim and was giving up about 40 pounds in the car, nonetheless, he's like, hey, I like racing here. And he was able to qualify and able to go to the semifinals, where he lost to Jim Halsey in a good close race. And you can see that later on the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel, as I will have eliminations up from that event in Pro Nitrous. Pro Boost had some great cars come out. You got Larry Nance here with his car, good-looking Camaro, attempting to make the field. Belushi brought the car out and did make the field, went out round one, but you had another NHRA heavyweight coming to race in the PDRA. Man, another beautiful car right here. We were able to see some other cars that race in other series. I absolutely love this car. Great body style. That gray works with that black and red striping. It just works. What a beautiful Willis that machine is. There were some stellar cars that showed up for the PDRA for the American Door Slammer Challenge, the first one. Continuing in the drag racing news and marketability, we mentioned the Lego toy coming out, Dodge and Lego putting that together. What a great initiative that is. It's awesome to think that there's going to be kids going to, well, I was about to say Toys R Us, but Toys R Us is no more, or it came back in a very limited capacity. It would have been that for me when I was a kid, going to Toys R Us. I'm a Toys R Us kid. I was. Loved Toys R Us. Mom and Dad might not have loved taking me, but I loved going for sure. But loved seeing the Lego aisle. The Toys R Us aisle with Lego was epic. They had everything. Like Walmart didn't have everything. Toys R Us had everything. And that would be something that Toys R Us would have. They'd have the Top Fuel Dragster kit. And it's stellar to think that there's going to be kids putting together a Top Fuel Dragster and playing with it and wondering, hey, what is this? Let's go see this in real life. And later on, they get older and they're searching on YouTube and they go and experience drag racing for the first time, hopefully, and they're hooked. Never know, they might become drag racers themselves. But concerning marketability, I think nearly anything can be marketed in motorsports, and nearly anything can be marketed in the world of drag racing, because fans have such great access to the drivers, to the teams, to the cars. They can get so up close to the brands. And if you have a brand that you can package it in a way that you can give away free samples, drag racing is such a great avenue for you to market your product. But Matt Hagan, look at this, going to have a New Holland funny car. Man, New Holland's going to go faster than they have ever been out in the field. They're going to do it on the drag strip with Matt Hagan. Matt Hagan is a farmer involved in beef and hemp, and he worked out a deal that St. Louis, New Holland is going to be the primary sponsor. Now, if you've noticed already, they are an associate sponsor on his car. They have been for a while there on the spoiler plate, but they are going to be the primary sponsor in St. Louis. Man, what could this open up? This could open up competition in marketing with John Deere, Case International, Kubota, Mahindra. What if the connection's there with Matt Hagan and beef? What if we have beef? It's what's for dinner tonight on the side of a funny car. I think that'd be pretty cool. And it works. I mean, drag racing fans are farmers. Drag racing fans are in agriculture. How do I know that? Well, you're talking to someone that before all of this kicked off and happened, I've worked in agriculture 2 times in my life. Once in greenhouses with herbs and vegetables and selling daylilies. Let me tell you, when you have to deadhead 10,000 daylilies in one day, whew, both of your thumbs are sore. Also, worked on a dairy farm. Drag racing fan, obviously, right here, worked in agriculture. There is a connection. You've got a lot of farmers that are in drag racing. And not to mention, there are people that are doing business out there. There's no telling the B2B. There's no telling the business connections that can happen with New Holland being represented out there on the drag strip. There's no telling who could come in and say, hey, we want to compete on the drag strip in marketing. Since New Holland is here, we're going to show up as well. James, he chimes in. What's up, Lee? Man, doing great. Good to have you on the show. I know you like your pro stock, so looking forward to talking to Elijah in just a few moments. Richard, he chimes in. Thank you for what you do for PDRA Racing. Trying, man. Look, I think there are some great stories. I think there are great personalities in PDRA, and I think in particular with Extreme Pro Stock, the stories that are happening there so far this year, it is wild and crazy. You look at Pro Boost, you see the domination of Jim Halsey. We might even get to talking a few things on points here in a few moments, but I think the PDRA is such a great place to go race. It's such a welcoming place to members of the media. I mean, I get counted as media. Me! Wow! Man, they'll let anybody come in. Nonetheless, Richard, thank you for chiming in, trying to do something, trying to get the word out on what great racing is happening at the PDRA. The limo guy, he chimes in. It was an honor to film 2 legends in Norwalk, Monday Morning Racer, and Ricky Smith. Thanks for the opportunity, Lee. Yes, limo guy, y'all check him out on YouTube. He held the camera for me. It was very helpful to me. Yes, got to talk to Ricky Smith, both of us. That was a lot of fun. Sam, my co-host, chimes in from Competition Plus Power Hour. He says, my better half, you right. He also says, you rocking that Ford hat. I am growing on you. Look, man, I'm a Ford man. I just tired of seeing Mustangs in the no prep scene, and they're all Fox bodies. Like, someone find something different, and somebody bring that new Fox body out in Pro Mod. We have got to see it. Let's see what James says. Well, 1984 to about 1996 would be my favorite era of pro stock, but yeah, I do enjoy the history there. Yeah, man, pro stock that time was definitely great. You know, the pioneering, the inception of it, to me, is a completely different time period, and it's got to be honored that way, and it's got to be recognized that way. But that 84 to 96, man, golden era of pro stock. Be interesting to talk to Elijah and see what he thinks might be the golden period for mountain motor pro stock. Have we even reached it? What is the potential there? Very quickly, before we bring on Elijah, let's quickly give a rundown of PDRA points. Pro nitrous. Well, imagine that. Jim Halsey is leading. I interviewed him very quickly after his win in Norwalk, and I said, Jim, do you realize next to the word domination in the dictionary, there's a picture of you? He kind of chuckled. He said, not yet. What a stellar program they've got going on right now. He leads by over, I think, 200, 250 points. You then have Tony Wilson, Jay Cox, and Ron Munks. Rounding out, I'm going to list the top 4. 5th sits Tommy Franklin. All those guys have 1,000+ points. Jim Halsey leading the way. Pro Boost, Randy Weatherford, Kevin Rivenbark, Johnny Camp, and then Jason Lee with his win in Norwalk cracks the top 4. They all have 1,000+ points. Gets interesting when we look at Extreme Pro stock. Chris Powers is the only one with 1,000+ points. Sitting second right now, who we're going to bring on in just a few moments, Elijah Morton. Then we have Stephen Boone sitting in third, and fourth, somewhere where I'm not sure anybody would have placed him at this point in the season, is Johnny Placino, defending champion of Extreme Pro Stock in the PDRA. 632. Well, Wes DeStefano, he's leading the way, but Darrell Stewart winning the first time in 632 at Norwalk. He is in second. Jimmy Plekarski, he is in third. They three have 1,000+ points. And then Chris Haldorf has less than 1,000 points, sitting in fourth. Some interesting battles shaping up in the points, especially, I think, in Pro Boost. And can anybody catch Chris Powers at this point, or is he starting to step away? We'll hear from Elijah on that in just a few moments. Speaking of that, let's bring Elijah Morton on, our guest, and talk to him about the race weekend. We'll take a break right now, and after that, we will have Elijah on. Folks, did you know you can get Monday Morning Racer apparel? Me, with a word on that. Yes, you can now get Monday Morning Racer swag. Shop SpeedShark.com, Team SpeedShark. They can hook you up with Monday Morning Racer apparel. Not only Monday Morning Racer apparel, we're talking about apparel for Johnny Placino, Camry Caruso, Frankie the Madman Taylor, and more to come soon. Check them out at ShopSpeedShark.com or at your next race at the Speed Shark trailer. Mr. Morton, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. How you doing, Lee?
Man, I'm doing great. Here to talk drag racing and got you on the show. I appreciate you coming on. I think you're one of the coolest cats out there in the Extreme Pro Stock ranks, so it's definitely good to have you on. Looking forward to it. Man, look, I want to dive right in. I want to talk about your victory lane. You had an interesting victory lane. I want to bring up the photo. Boom, right there. First of all, talk to me about your little buddy that you always got rolling around with you, that chocolate lab. I believe it's a lab. Talk to me about him.
Oh, yeah, that's Wilbur. Now, everybody knows Wilbur. They love Wilbur. Wilbur came to Galat in 2019 at the first rate when we came back to racing. And we won the race, and he was in the winner's circle. So he's our mascot from then on. So to take a picture without Wilbur in the winner's circle would be a sin. So we didn't have him, and back after him, and we got him. So there's the picture of Wilbur.
Hey, you got to have the mascot definitely in on the photo. And then you had a fan in this photo. Talk to me about why he is in this photo. A very cool deal of what I heard briefly you mentioning. So the fan, he's like third in from the left here. So talk to me about why he's in it.
Well, we don't have many fans. We're kind of unpopular in the pro stock world, as you know, and we don't have a whole lot of fans. But we had one fan all weekend. And he hung around the pits, what we were doing, and just hung in there and said, I'm not leaving until you lose. So he did that, and with that, we honored him with being in the picture at the Pro Stock win. He was my number one fan for the weekend.
Man, look, Elijah, I think that is an immensely cool move because you just, I don't know, you don't hear teams doing that, and you will have those fans hang around and be like, hey, this is going to be my team for the weekend. I've experienced that with Doug Foley. There was two young guys. They had never been to a drag race, and they're like, hey, you are our team for the weekend. They hung around the whole time. And you know what? Those type of fans should get some special treatment. So thank you for doing that, sir. It's a cool move.
Yeah, we did that before on another win situation we had, and it just felt right. And he was hanging around from the first round on. He was there for another Mustang, but he loved Mustangs, and he said he loved our car, and he loved the way it looked, and he loved our crew and the way they worked together, and he just thought we had an awesome team. So he said he wasn't leaving until that happened. So he was one of our motivators, and we did the deal, and there he was.
Awesome, man. Well, look, speaking of loving Mustangs and him liking your Mustang, let's talk about your hot rod. Who supplies the engine and the horsepower? You know, is it a Bickle car, RJ, or whoever built it? You know, give us the rundown on your particular Mustang.
Well, back in 2012, I believe it was, I had a car that wasn't working just right, and I was having a few issues, and it'd make a good run, and then it wouldn't. And then a gentleman come up to me and says, "Can I help you a little bit on your race car?" And I said, "Why would you do that?" He said, "Well, I just hate to see you struggle." And I said, "Well, I am struggling." He said, "Well, let me have your car for a couple of weeks, and let me see if I can help you." And we went from non-qualifying to qualify number one the next race. And that gentleman was Larry Jeffers. Larry Jeffers race car. This is the first pro stock he's built. He wanted to build me one after that. And when we had retired, we came back. We asked him to go ahead and build us one, and we've been pleased with the results. And Larry Jeffers put the car together. Then we have Mike Allen and his father, which is Mike Allen Sr., and his son, Mike Mason. They're a little engine shop in Tennessee. And these boys have the heart and soul to build pro stock engines. They were building Top Sportsman engines when I met them, and they felt like they could build us an engine. And back in 2015 or so, I can't remember the exact year, they started building pro stock engines for us. And we won a lot of races with them. We won championships, and myself and Boone, and I think Penland was on the verge of winning one, but Mike Allen and them guys, I call it the little engine shop that could, because they're so small, but yet they produce very well. And we've gained good strides and good horsepower in the last 10 years with them. And plus, they'll do whatever it takes to get an engine back in the car. And then Mike, he comes and crew chiefs with me. He's had to learn the whole program. And we've been like family and a good team together. And we just love those guys. So engine builder is Allen's Competition, and race car builder is Larry Jeffers Race Cars.
All right, the $64 million question. Even though I'm glad to see it, why a Ford? I mean, man, Fords just don't seem to be run as much as maybe they used to be, or as they should. They seem to cost a lot more. So yeah, why a Ford?
Well, that's a good question. And back when I was thinking about getting in pro stock, Chevrolet didn't have a Hemi motor. Pro stock did. Ford pro stock did. And certainly the Dodge wasn't running very good. We back in the year 2000. You may remember Bob Yoke. I don't know if you do or not, but his son drove, John, and they'd won several championships. And I was running Top Sportsman at the time, and we were doing okay there, but we wanted to step up a notch. And we were looking at all the cars and what they were running and how they were running. And I didn't mind driving a Ford. I like a Ford fine, and always liked the Mustang. So, but at the time, Bob Yoke was winning. He was dominating with a Ford Hemi, and John was building his engines, and John was ready to retire. So at the end of year 2000, he was selling his operation, and we had talked to some people that were going to go racing with us, and asked the question, "What would you buy, a Chevrolet or a Ford or a Dodge?" And it was hands down, the Ford was running up top. So we bought Bob Yoke's Ford Probe 2000 World Championship car, bought his trailer, bought his whole operation, car, motors, and all. That's why we ended up in what we're in.
All right, good enough reason right there. Well, look, we had someone mention earlier in the, really thinking that like 1984 to 1996 was a great era of pro stock racing, and I think that is definitely the case for NHRA. What's your thoughts, for Mountain Motor Pro Stock, that kind of IHRA track and now into like ADRL and PDRA? Has it had its golden period, or are we having that ahead of us with what's going on right now?
There was certainly the golden years when we had Bill Bader running IHRA. I mean, that was the prime of pro stock racing, when you had 20 plus cars trying to get in a 16-car field. You were sitting on the edge of your seat on the last run. Am I going to stay in, or somebody going to bump me out? It wasn't a trophy for all type attitude. It was, if you make it, you get in. If you don't, you go home. And that challenged us to do the best we could do. Certainly that was the highlights of some of our racing. Is it over? No, I don't think so. I think We got to get some people back more interested than they are now. There's plenty of cars still sitting. There's plenty of cars still there. They got to have the want to, or they got to have the desire to promote the class. There's a lot of people that do, a lot of people that, just waiting on that right time. But I don't think we're at the end of our era at all. I think we still got a big future ahead.
I definitely think so as well. I hope so. Love what Extreme Pro Stock is, Mountain Motor Pro Stock, and hope the brightest days are ahead. It's good to see like John DeFlorian out there. What's it going to take, in your opinion, to have John, Mike Bell, some of those other cars show up and compete regularly in the PDRA?
Well, they got to quit choosing sides or who. I mean, let's just go race. Let's go promote the class. Don't be one and done. And then there's too many bodies. I mean, there should be one or no more than two places to go race. There's three right now, so it's kind of split in the class. People are choosing where they can go, and they're doing it for financial reasons. I'm sure that's a lot of it. Whatever's close to me, I'll go, and that's further away, I will not go. Then there's something to do with the entry fee, but it just needs to be a team effort, and everybody joins together, and let's go promote the class and not be a split deal.
All right, so Todd, a fellow PDRA competitor in Top Dragster, he asks, how many cubic inches does Elijah run? So how big is that Ford motor from the Allens?
Well, the cubic inches is 832 cubic inches. That's what we're allowed, and that's what we run. We run right on the edge, and we may be 1 or 2 under, but we don't go over.
All right, getting it done, maybe a little under, but right there at the max. Well, Elijah, look, let's take the time and dive in, go round by round, and see what your event was like, spanning. Oh, wow. When did y'all show up? Show up Wednesday night, Thursday morning?
Yeah, we showed up Wednesday night. We got there on Thursday morning. Made a great pass on our first test session, the 407, I believe it was. And it looked like we had our act under control and turned a few heads and done a good run. But then we made a bad run next test session, and then it's pretty much over. So then the rain came in on Friday. We sat around looking at one another all day and wondered what we were doing there, but we enjoyed our day, a little parts maintenance, and hope it will come around and be a sunshiny day on Saturday.
Well, we did finally get some racing in on Saturday. Round one, you had John Montecalvo. Let's take a look at that right now. And y'all set some more. So, I mean, did anybody happen to clock that? How long did y'all sit before anybody staged?
Can't hear you, Lee.
Uh-oh. Can you hear me? I have lost you too. Oh boy, I play a video and I lose them. Can you hear me now, Elijah? Let me know when you can hear me, because I've got everything I've got everything that should be good to go. But as y'all can see there, round one, it was a situation where nobody was staged, and John finally stages. Then Elijah rolls in, and he does get the win. It was a challenging conditions for everybody out there. Elijah, can you still not hear me?
I can hear you now. We got it fixed. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Did you have that in slow mode? Looked like it took a long time to stage. Were you in slow mode?
Yeah, as I said, you couldn't hear me. Y'all set and set and set. So, man, I don't know if anybody clocked it, but that was a good long time before anybody staged up.
Yeah, I did ask John at the end of the run. I asked him, was he having brake problems or something? I figured his brakes were locked up and couldn't stage. I'm not sure, but John likes to stage first, so I was trying to be courteous and let him go ahead and do his normal deal, but I figured he had a mechanical problem of some type, or I don't know really what the problem was, but it took him a while to get in. But when he got in, I went on in and done my deal. So maybe we'll work on those brakes a little bit. I'm not sure what style he has, but I got some spare parts in the trailer if he needs them.
Hey, with you saying that, and you're like, hey, John usually likes to stage first. How long have you been racing against John? You guys have been racing long enough. You kind of know what everybody's MO is. So how long have you been racing with John?
Oh, man, John's been racing ever since I started pro stock racing, 2000. And he was racing before that, I'm sure. But I was a late bloomer in the racing world, and he was already there and been there many years. But yeah, we've had a lot of good runs and some memorable runs. And I remember we run in both finals at Rockingham together. I won the first one, and then the second one we run in the finals again, we went back and we were door handle to door handle. And I said, oh, he's going to lift. But no, John didn't lift, and he got that one. So we've had a lot of great times. We've spent nights in each other's homes together and took vacations together. And we're friends, but when it comes to racing, it's on. I mean, throw the friends out the window for a few seconds anyway. But yeah, we've had a lot of good times together.
Definitely so, man. That's good to hear. And look, conditions were tough from Saturday night rolling into Sunday. It's either you hit it or you didn't hit it. You see John over there blow the tires off. You make it down. How tricky was that good track?
Oh, it was very tricky. I feel bad for the crew chief. Some of them were going home and thinking, well, why did I miss that? Or how did I make a bad call? Or the window was so small. If you didn't get it just right, you were shaking and baking. And some of them got it just right and got down, and some got down shaking, and some got down spinning. And I know there was a bald spot out there about 30, 40 feet that was 10 foot long. And if you didn't get out of that groove, you were definitely shaking. And you had to have the transmission, clutch, and all that just right, and RPMs and the gear shifts. And I know if you missed it by 100 in low gear, I was shaking. So you had to be on. It was a tricky deal, and the crew chiefs had their jobs cut out for them, and the driver did too.
So Johnny Placino chimes in. He says, congrats to Elijah. Great competition. But he also wants to know another comment. Who is his toughest competition? So, who's the toughest competition out there other than Johnny Pacino?
Other than Johnny. He thinks he's number one, and so we got to pick someone else. Okay. God, Powers is pretty tough. Boone's pretty tough. There's a lot of competition out there. I mean, any given day, Monte Calvo can take you out. DeFlorian can take you out. Man, there's plenty of people. I mean, it's when you win and lose by tenths and hundredths of a second, then anybody can take you out. If you're sleeping on the line, it's over. So there's no one name you can put in that answer.
Right. I think at some point, everybody this past weekend made a decent hit or didn't get down to the track at all. It was just all over the board. It was definitely a challenging weekend for you extreme pro stock guys. All right, so let's move on to Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon. And folks, this is going to be a bit out of focus. I don't know what my camera was doing. I could not get it into focus, but we'll take a look at round two where, Elijah, you're facing John DeFlorian.
uses 004 reaction time to get there first. He was not.
Dude, 004.
John's tough. John DeFlori's tough, and I haven't forgot the last time I run him, and he got me by just a little bit, and I said, I'm not going to leave that on the table this time, and I was pumped, and I was ready. The driver was ready, and we cut it a little close. I mean, it was only 5 thousandths from being red and throwing it away. Sometimes you cut them a little too close, but that was close, and we were on the green side of red, and we won that round by a hole shot. So the driver did his job. Sometimes the car wins it for you, and sometimes the driver will do it. So we can pat the driver on the back for that one. I think
Definitely so. Yeah, man, that was a big hole shot. That was a stellar run. So, man, congrats to you, individually on that round. Showed definitely your capabilities behind the wheel, getting it done there in the reaction time against a tough competitor. And in the semifinals, you didn't have the bye. You go up against Bill Neary, and Bill might have had the most interesting weekend in Extreme Pro Stock from round 1, round 2, into the semifinals. But you get past him, and let's take a look at it. Whoo! Got by that one. Red light by Bill.
Well, yeah, Bill, he had done a unthinkable thing, and JR car, I mean, his car is running good. He's a great driver. He's been on a little bit of a slump, but I'm sure he'll come right back out of it. He always does, but he's got a great running car, got a great crew over there, and for Bill to take Mr. Carr out was probably quite an achievement. And then he hit by in the second, so he made it to the third round. And then probably that 04 light got in his head a little bit. He said, I got to go. I can't leave any on the table for Elijah. So he got a little excited maybe, but he did good to get there and got the third round. And he told me the other end I was one lucky dude. I'm not sure what he meant by that, but he went red, and I had a 25 light, so it's a W. It wasn't won by the fastest car or anything like that, but a red light, you're dead. You go home. But I'm sure he's pretty happy we get into the third round.
All right, your final round matchup is against Chris Powers, and Chris so far is having a very good year. He's already picked up a win. I wasn't in Kentucky, but I suppose with him leading the points now after leaving Norwalk that he did pretty well at Kentucky himself. So, Chris's car is running. He's driving well. What were your thoughts going into the final round there for the inaugural American Door Slammer Challenge?
Well, Chris has always been a tough competitor. When he's on, and he runs good. And of course, he's just he puts his pants on like we do. He can leave on time or he can leave a little late. I mean, it's all about how you focus. And he ran a great number. We had a little better light than he did, and we were shaking in second, but I just couldn't let out of it. It was still straight. We were shaking and shaking, but it drove out and drove through it. Then we got the rest of our gear shifts right, and I never saw him. And then I looked up and I seen a 416. I said, wow, we had to lose. And I seen a 407, I think, was on his side. But I thought I seen a little flashing light on top of my sign blinking like I'd won. And I just would not choose to believe that happened, not with a 416 to a 407. I said, Chris, he must have got him a drink or two between the leaving there. I don't know what happened, but he left a little late, and we won the round by just 0.1 thousandths of a second, I believe it was, which was, I'm assuming, inches. And Chris has always been pretty tough to race, and we enjoy racing him. And we were on the winning side of that one, and he come over and congratulated me. And then at that time, I actually believed I had actually won the race with that round. But I think we had a 21 light on that round to his, I don't know, one something. I'm not sure.
There it is, 416 to 407. Elijah Morton picks up the win. Look, what does it feel like to win a first? First time PDRA goes to Norwalk as a sanctioning body. What does it feel like? There's not that many firsts in drag racing anymore, and you were able to hold up the first 660 man from Norwalk.
Well, the last time I was in Norwalk was with another sanctioning body, and I raced Kirk in the final, Doug Kirk. And we won that race. So the last time I was at Norwalk before this one, I won. And to come here and win the first PDRA Norwalk race with the first ever built Larry Jeffers car on Memorial Day, man, what a memory. What a great time. And I told him in the interview in the winner's circle, let's just go back to Norwalk and race next weekend because I like Norwalk.
I bet you do. I bet you do. Well, look, Chris Powers, he's watching. He chimes in, says congratulations. So you definitely got the adoration of your competitors. They've been chiming in, saying congrats. And it'd been a little while since you've been to the victory lane, and you've been in some finals. So I'm sure it also felt good to, like, wow, we've made the final and we actually got it.
Yeah, I had a little guy over there last year, a young fellow, I won't name his name, but his initials were JP, was sort of dominating last year. And I think I went to the finals 2 or 3 times with him. I went to 5 finals last year, and I just couldn't seal the deal. Somebody was always either a little better on speed or a little better on the reaction time. It didn't take much, but there were some races that could have went either way. But as we know, Johnny was very dominant last year, and he done a great job, and he won the championship, and he come out swinging. He done a great job. He's a great competitor, and we like racing him. And we hope to pay him back for a few of the losses we got in the finals from last year. So put his boots on, pull his pants up, and let's go.
Hey, I like seeing you Ford guys make the finals. So just make sure you're on different sides of the bracket. You make the finals. I do like seeing that. Ford all the way, man.
Well, I appreciate that. We have a lot of good Ford competitors out there. We've got a few good Ford motor builders out there. Kazi does a great job, and my man Alan does a great job on the Fords. And it was great. We were at the NHRA race, and we had 2 Fords in the finals. When's the last time you seen that at NHRA? So Mustangs are making their way back, and Ford's making their way back to the top of the list to run. So I wouldn't be surprised if a few of them would build a Ford from here out to come run with us. I think I've seen Patrick was coming back with a Ford. Of course, he has a Ford the whole time, but maybe we'll have a few more out there.
I've had so many people comment on my video that I filmed from Indy with you two being in the final, yourself and Johnny being in the final there at Indy. And so many have mentioned, wow, 2 Fords in a final. When was the last time that happened? I mean, man, we need Lewis Bloom or Brent Kepner on that one. It has definitely been a long time in NHRA drag racing. I know if you'd looked at IHRA, you might have had a Ford Cougar final, not that long ago in what is now the defunct pro categories. But yes, that was epic to see. That was epic to see, man.
Yeah, it was great. It was great to be there with Johnny and us being there on live TV and doing that together, and the race to be so close. And we just congratulated one another, and the best man won that day. So we still could have won anyway. Just had to get that foot off the clutch a little faster. So this winter, I had the clutch pedal on a little bit with Modern Racing. They worked on my clutch pedal a little bit, and it showed up in Norwalk. So thanks, hats off to them. Hats off to my carburetor guy, Jay, with AED, which he also helps sponsor Pro Stock Racing, helps put some money out for the purse. And, of course, our engine builder and our clutch man, Ram, and of course, Adam and those guys that help us with the shock. So all those guys contribute to what we do. We got a great crew. We got Eddie, which is my former truck mechanic. He drives my trucks, takes care of it, carries it to the track. Then we have Dwayne that has come on board with us, helping us with the clutch. Mason, which is Mike's son, does a great job last year, does a great job this year. Still working with us, but we're expecting him to go to college soon. So brought Dwayne in to help out a little bit and take over maybe when he runs off to college. And my brother Glenn, which, back in the 70s, he was a super stock racer. And there was probably 10 years or so he didn't race. And someone comes stored a race car in one of our shops, and we asked if we could take it to the local track and try it. And of course, my brother wanted to, since he loved drag racing more than I did. I didn't have a lot of fever for drag racing at the time. But we took it out to the local drag racing track called Coastal Plains, which was my brother-in-law, which is his sister married Greg, of course, Greg Anderson. And we went out and started playing and enjoyed some drag racing, bracket racing. Next year, went in top sportsman racing. Run a couple years there. We were in 5 finals there. And the bug bit us, and we decided we wanted to go pro stock racing. So we bought Bob Yoke's machine. And me and my brother's always been tight, of course, from day one. And he goes with me to every race. Then got to thank my wife for supporting us, and my family for supporting us, and my teams back at home that work hard while we're gone and keep the train on the track, so to speak. And then Wilbur, he comes with me. He's my mascot now, so you've seen him in the picture. So we got a lot of good people behind us, and we got to thank them all for us out and getting us where we are. And then old Scott, he had picked us for #1 power ranking. And first of the year, I don't know how, he said he had to put some money in a machine or something, and it spit the numbers out and had picked us for #1. And then after 2 races, we lost first 2 races. I told him I'd go back to that machine, so if I get my money back, because it looked like it might have lied to you. Because it didn't look like we were going to do that good. But now we're right back in the ball game again. Chris, I think he's a couple of rounds ahead of us. And, of course, we're not very far ahead of Stephen Boone, just 1 point. So then there's John Pacino coming right up behind us. There's 5 races left. So it's still anybody's game. Just because you're #1, 2, 3, or 4 doesn't mean that you're going to win the championship at this point. There's a lot of races left, and they can flip so quick. I think we went from #7 to #2 in 1 race. So it just shows you how it can flip around so quick.
It can definitely change quick, and it can definitely change quick when you have like John DeFlorian show up. Maybe that's the only race he competes all year, but, could have definitely affected the points run for everyone else. And we're seeing those implications happening in Pro Nitrous and Pro Boost. So, yeah, you never know. You never know until that last race and that last round that it locks everything mathematically.
Well, how about Justin Kirk coming out and dominating the second race? I mean, he come out and he put a good program together and 3 solid runs together and won that race. So that was pretty strong of him, and congratulations to his first victory. But that team put a good race together, and then he come out and of course, he didn't make the exact right call on race night or race day. It was race night, I guess, for him, first round, which everybody was trying to say, do we race? Do we not race? We were kind of in a point where wanted to turn around and go back, but the car had wrecked. And then some of them turned around and went back. And what do we do? We want to be a team player, but at the same time, if we go back, we'll be through out for the next round. We need to wait and see what everybody's going to do as far as calling the race or not calling the race. And then some pro mods ahead of us run 63s and 65s. And we all decided, well, the track's pretty good. I guess we should be able to go race. It's pretty solid, and they're running those kind of numbers. The track's not that bad. So we all chose to race. Nobody else went back. And we had a competitor that come back, and we all raced. And so all was good at the end of the day. But it was a touchy situation for us, and as far as go race, not go race, or do we have the right setup? Has it changed a lot in the last hour since they've cleaned the track and turned the RPMs down a little bit on the lead, take a few grams off? All the decisions that were very critical with the track, as tricky as it was. But hey, hats off to PDRA for putting us a race on it. Norwalk, I call it the Indy of NHRA, or the cat daddy of all races with PDRA. I mean, it's a great track. We love going there. Plus, the ice cream's pretty cheap. You had some of that. And I think they put a ice cream deal together on Thursday afternoon, 450 pounds is what I heard. free ice cream. But then Bill Bader's track and his son, they keep it clean and neat and run it first class, and we love going there. It's just a Class A act. So we feel honored to run. I mean, if we're going to win any races, we love to win Norwalk. It's just top of the line, and especially being the first one with PDRA. So we're still on cloud nine, and my wife had called that night and says, "Don't you drive all the way home now. You need to stop and get you some rest." And I tried, but hey, I was too pumped. I couldn't stop and rest. We drove all the way home and had a little Iron Man over there in the passenger seat. He was strapped in the seat belt. He was looking out the window smiling. And the only thing he said to me was, "Hey, I need a friend. I'm lonely over here." So I plan to get him another one, if you understand.
There you go. There you go. Sounds good. Well, look, we're going to take one quick break. We'll come right back for just a couple more questions, and we'll wrap the show up.
All right. Sounds good.
Power-Built Tools exemplifies innovation in the tool industry. From hand tools, power tools, and even tool storage. Check out powerbuilt.com for Power-Built Tools. And remember, use promo code MMR15 for 15% off at purchase.
All right, Elijah. So most drag racers, especially it seems in the door slammer world and in most places, period, they're not just drag racers. They're, in fact, business owners. Like, I work for Doug Foley. He's a contractor, for example, in the Mooresville, North Carolina area. And you are in business as well. You jokingly said you got like 21 LLCs over the phone earlier this week. So I know you've got the trucking company. Dive into that a little bit. But, man, what all do you dabble in?
Well, I'm a sibling of 10. My father and mother were farmers growing up, and that was my livelihood until I was about 20 years old. I farmed with my father and mother until the farming didn't produce enough income for children. So I ventured out and bought my first dump truck. Felt like I could make a living hauling material for other customers. And I went to get a loan and just could not get a bank to look at me. So my dad co-signed for me. He said, "I'm going to do it, and I'm going to let you go on your own," even though he was losing a good farm hand. So I started trucking, and then some 20 years later, we had a business that had about 200 employees, several hundred pieces of equipment, and we were doing site work for other developers, doing commercial work for DOT and highway work and different things like that. We bought an asphalt plant, put that up. And about 2 years ago, I decided it was time to start winding down from that operation, and that I wanted to enjoy a little fruit of my labor, so to speak. And I sold the asphalt plant. And the kids, or my two sons, are now, they've got the benefit of the construction business, the grading, the sand pits, and the hauling. But still, I've got plenty to stay busy. I've done what you call semi-retire, I guess. I'm working about 40 hours a week instead of 80. That's about half days. And I've still got some development business going on. I buy land, do a little bit of developing, sell some lots, which my daughter builds houses, and she's doing quite well in that operation. So we develop lots for her to purchase and build her houses on, and along with other home builders. We're in the hog business a little bit. I keep hearing when they announce a certain person out there that he's a hog farmer and he has a couple thousand sows. Well, maybe I could say I'm a hog farmer too, because I got about 10,000 sows. So maybe they'll announce me as a hog farmer next time I go up there. Even though I don't ever see them, somebody else handles that operation. Then we have a recycling business. We have some sand mine businesses. We have some land holdings. And there's several other little things I won't bore you with, but we do quite a few things yet. It keeps us busy, but it's a part-time job now. I have very few employees that I have to manage every day. So I can go drag racing, I can go fishing, or I can go fly helicopter. I can turn left, or I can turn right, or I can make a U-turn when I come out the front door. So life is good, and we're enjoying it, and that's the way it's meant to be in my mind.
Man, semi-retired doing 40 hours a week. I like it.
There's 24 hours in a day, and if you only work 12 of them, that's half days, right?
There you go. There you go. So earlier, I mentioned Matt Hagan. You were kind of alluding to, I believe. He's going to have New Holland on the funny car at St. Louis. So you mentioning farming and it being such a part of your life, what brand do you favor? And if you could have a brand on your side of your car, what would it be?
Well, we've got two that we bought most of. They were Caterpillar cat dozers and track hoes and front end loaders and rollers and mini skid steers, and then we had John Deere, which was very competitive as well. So we run probably 50% cat and 50% John Deere. So maybe one of them will step up to the plate. Then we got Morton, which always supplied our stone, but they haven't been willing to write a check for that racing operation. They'll write checks for other entities or charity cases, but as far as equipment, I'd say Cat or John Deere. They should step up and match up with New Holland. They big boys, they can do it.
I'd like to see a Cat, dragster out there, a funny car. I think that'd be pretty cool. They've been in stock car racing for so long, getting drag racing. Come on.
It'll be hard to paint my car yellow, but I guess if the price is right, we might try it.
There you go. Well, look, Elijah, we're going to wrap this up, man. Thank you for coming on. It's been good to chat with you. Congratulations on being the first to get the 660 man from the American Door Slammer Challenge. And I hope you have a great Maryland coming up. Thanks for being on the show, man.
Hey, Lee, appreciate you having me on. Thanks for everybody for the congratulations, and we'll see you the next race. Have a good one.
Thank you, sir. Take care. All right, folks, Elijah Morton on the show right here Between the Slicks. Well, we have gone over our allotted time. Not that there is a set time that I've got to be done. I could keep going. I could. But I need to get back to doing some film editing and get Pro Boost, Pro Nitrous, 632, and some other tractor pulling videos out on YouTube. This weekend for me, I'm actually not at a drag race. Going to be at my first ever sports car race just up the road, 30 minutes or so at Virginia International Raceway. Speaking of drag racing, hey, go catch Sega, Southeast Gassers Association. Go catch Sega when you get a chance. And Otto Mandan, what's with stupid glasses? You forgot the fee there. Well, they've got me noticed and recognized, and I've gotten this far, so stupid is as stupid does, but I'm rocking on and continuing on. And Rob, thank you for saying thanks for the show, and Todd chiming in. Great show. Guys, you can catch Between the Slicks Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know who we'll have next week, but from Stevie Ray to Elijah Morton and anyone else in between who loves or is involved in drag racing, we'll have them right here on Between the Slicks. Until next time, God bless and keep the pedal